Please go ahead, sir. Good, sir.
Okay, please. If I am audible and the slides are visible to you, let me start my interaction with you on the topic assigned to me. Professor Nagendra Prabhu asked me to interact with you for about 2 sessions on one of the days since the program has started. Due to my other academic commitments, I could not accept those assignments. Somehow, he made me to be with you at least for 1 hour interaction, and hence I've chosen the topic new frontiers of business education in general, which is also inclusive of commerce and management education. I'll be talking to you precisely as to what is relevant at this point of time. If you feel like asking questions, making comments, or even criticisms are welcome at any point of my interaction. Take the liberty to stop talking and raise your question so that we can interact. Needless to wait to the end. You can ask a question at any time you feel like posing a question. The topic that I have chosen for the session is new frontiers of business education. As I told you, which includes commerce and management also. The moment you say business and education, these are two contradicting expressions in English or in any language for that matter. Business is something connected with the materialistic world, something concerned with making profit, something to do adventures. Whereas education is concerned with the training of the mind, making people to think and unveiling the world before the individual to make him an overall developed person and make him acceptable as a responsible citizen of the concerned society. So that looking at these two different angles, one from the business angle and other from educational point of view, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yes. Keeping these two dimensions in mind, on the one side, a business which is for profit. Profiting is not a sin. If you don't make profit in the name of business, it is waste of your energy and you hardly deserve the name of business. And at the same time, education is for unveiling the world before an individual to train the mind, to make an individual acceptable to the society. But here today, we have n number of B schools aiming at graduating people in different streams of knowledge like BCom, MCom, BBA, BBM or MBA, CA, ICWA and such related courses. There are 100 different courses that are aiming at educating people who are going to be the policy makers, who are going to be the performers in the business. Business never happens to be standing water. It will never become stagnant. It is the most dynamic force. It will change as the life of individuals changes on the world, because business is life. Needless to elaborate further, you will be knowing several definitions of business are there, but business is the most prominent activity with which human beings are engaged in their life to make a livelihood. That's the reason we call business is being busy. With whatever you are busy, that becomes your business. But today, people are busy with 100 different issues. But these issues are not the same across the globe. They have been changing from time to time as technology changes, as civilization changes, as the thinking of people changes. That could be the reason for us to think presently about Industrial Revolution 4.0 and one step thinking ahead about Industrial Revolution 5.0. You will be knowing what the Industrial Revolution 5.0 is going to be. This is all about a conflict between algorithm and the altruism. Algorithm is concerned more with the technology, more with computers, more with the digitization, whereas altruism is concerned with individual thinking, caring for others, sensitivity to the problems happening around us. Keeping all these things in mind, being the teachers in the field of commerce and management, educating people to occupy responsible positions in business organization, we need to think differently. We need to be innovative. We need to evolve new strategy. That has become more relevant today, and it has become inevitable for us to think differently in the light of the present happenings. The present happenings that I can list before you is one on the other side, technological revolution, and the other one is the latest pandemic that we have encountered. Technological revolution, yes, for the last 10-15 years, technology has changed very fast. As a result, if you don't think in terms of Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and robotic technology, people will look at you differently as an outdated person. That is on the one side. That made us to think in terms of the online, digitized way of life and business. On the other hand, the pandemic. For about 20 months, the entire world has experienced an unprecedented experience that has made business and everything on their toes to change. The most affected one is the business sector, because business includes everything. Let it be hospitality, let it be healthcare, let it be business, let it be education, banking, insurance. Business includes life. So that the most worst hit sector is business. Hence, it has become inevitable for us to think of the new strategies to survive after this pandemic. Post-pandemic industry, we need to think. Post-pandemic business, we need to think. Management, we need to think. Therefore, it has become inevitable to think of the new frontiers in the light of changed technology on the one side and the pandemic on the other side. And one more important thing that we need to keep in mind is pandemic and the technology has created some new problems before us. For these new problems, we have to come out with solutions. We need to find out the remedy for the business problems. In order to think of the remedy for the new type of business, you'll be knowing unprecedented events, unprecedented problems. The new problems cannot be solved with the old solutions. There is a popular saying, the new disease cannot be solved, cannot be cured with the old medicine. As for this COVID-19, as there was no medicine, there is no solution for most of the new problems that are created in business. Because of these incidents, we need to think differently. We need to come out with different solutions. Hence, this topic I thought is appropriate for the day to interact with the teacher. And one more thing that made me to think in terms of this topic is Samajada ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತು. I'm most excited to hear about Samaja. The next topic that I wanted to justify the next issue that I want to justify this topic is the government's new policy towards education, NEP. The new education policy is also aiming at bringing some changes in every facet, including business and management. We are planning for a new curriculum for the business and management courses in the entire country. That is another reason that made us to think in terms of this new topic and new vistas or new frontiers of business and commerce education. And one more thing that you need to keep in mind is unless the commerce and the management education are industry oriented, unless they are business based content oriented subjects, there cannot be justification for giving these courses. Hence, as management and commerce teachers, In toto, I call them business teachers. We need to think differently. We need to come out with new solutions. We need to arrive at a different dimension for graduating our students. In that context, the first quote that flashed to my mind was the one given by Alvin Toffler. Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alvin Toffler's quote runs like this. You will be knowing Alvin Toffler, the author of the book Future Shocks. In his book, he made a mention to help avert future shocks, we must create a super industrial educational system. And to do this, we must search for our objectives, methods in future rather than the past. Past is over. It is true that history is inevitable, but the historical facts and quoting the things from the past will not help us any longer. We need to arrive at objectives based on the future. We need to think about the future because business is always concerned with the future life rather than the past history. But I am the one who strongly believes that future cannot be created without understanding the history properly. To understand the history, we must have a total understanding of whatever we have. Based on the present, we can think about the future effectively. Therefore, education must shift into future tense all the time. What will happen to our graduates after the introduction of new education policy? What will happen to our graduates after another 5 years? What will happen to our business graduates after this pandemic is over and the business becomes normal? Can you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We need to think on those lines. Therefore, in order to think that, we must understand that the future of any country or the growth of any economy depends on the business, particularly the policy makers, decision makers who are going to produce from our colleges and universities will be the decision makers about starting up of new ventures, the new type of business that are going to be started in future, introducing new products, creation and introduction of new products, handling competitors both from domestic and the global market, and one more thing, initiating corporate integrations in the form of mergers and acquisitions, and holistically, in one word, I can say managing change. Change is the most happening thing. Change is something that is without any doubt going to happen. When the change changes, how our graduates are going to sustain, how they are going to face it, how confident they will be to handle these problems. That is going to be the challenge before all educators, including management educators, commerce educators. Many a time, people ask a question, you are producing graduates, whether your graduates, when they come out of the colleges and the universities, are confident or confused. I am also asking you the same question. Any one of you can react. Do you think your students, when they are going out of your colleges, enter into their life with confidence or whether they are confused? Any reactions from you?
Confused, sir.
I heard one voice saying confused. How about others? Do you think your students are confident or confused?
Confident, sir.
Confident. What is the justification for that, madam? Just to make you speak.
They are very clear what to do in the future, sir, what to do next. They are very clear. That is the thing we are doing in the graduation.
whether everybody agrees with that statement that our graduates are very clear as to what to do when they are going out of the college?
Not all, sir. The proportion varies.
Percentage, if you put it in percentage?
The 90-10, sir. 10 must be confident and the 90 must be confused.
10 must be confident and the rest are confused, right? Very recently, a survey has been published wherein it is said just 3%, just 3% of the people coming out of the courses are absolutely confident as to what to do. 97% of them invariably has handed over their future into the hands of destiny, the invisible force. They think somehow it will happen. I don't know what I am going to become. Even for that matter, at the time of choosing a course in India, if you ask any student what you want to become, it is said there are about 250 different options of educational courses in this country. But most of our youngsters are aware of not more than 10 courses. What do you want? What degree you want to do? BA, BCom, BSc, BBA. Other than that, I don't know. If I force them, they will say what to do. I am not a science graduate to take up medicine. Medicine and engineering are the heaven. Am I reaching? Other than that, there is nothing in the world, because we have not opened up our system properly in front of our students, our youngsters. We have not guided them properly. I have no hesitation to say most of our youngsters are not empowered to think independently. Empowered to think independently. They are just graduates. They are degree holders. That's it. The expected level of maturity is missing. Therefore, after all these events, when our graduates from the business schools, from the colleges go out, what are they going to do? How will they face these challenges? What type of skills are essential for them? That we need to think. There comes the role of government, teachers, and the students also. Even the students must be open to learning. Unless they are open up and learn, what can you do? Agree? Therefore, government, students, teachers, and the society at large. Society must also think differently. But the present day society, it is very skeptical. The present day society expects results overnight. Parents say, we are ready to spend any amount. We are ready to pay any fee. Make my son a genius. It is not possible to create genius overnight. It is not the fee that can make somebody a saleable product. Preparedness is required. But the parents think we are ready to spend huge money. That could be the reason many a time, if the fees is nominal, parents suspect your course, because they think the fee and the quality of education goes hand in hand. Some of the private schools have taken advantage of this. They fix exorbitant prices and people think that's a very good college, very good school. This is the fate of higher education today in the country. We are at the threshold of preparing. We are preparing the new curriculum for all the courses, including commerce and management education. Therefore, I thought this is the high time for management and commerce teachers in the colleges and universities to think differently as to what we must give to our students. When they go out of our colleges and universities, what should they study? For that purpose, we need to understand the happenings in business. What's happening in business? Today, the moment you say business, it is not as it was some 10 years back. Today's business is infused with technology. We cannot think of business without technology. Wherever you go, people talk about digitization, computerization, Internet of Things, robotics. Online classes, it is a new thing for us. Without technology, you cannot do business. Therefore, only buying and selling definitions will not help you to make good students. Without the application of artificial intelligence and robotic technologies and other latest, I use the word algorithm-based thinking, you cannot make our students updated. One more thing that you need to keep in mind is new models of business have been innovated. New models. As a result of new models, joint ventures, collaboration, corporate alliances, multinational companies. Name the product, name the country, there are multinational organizations. Gone are the days we used to speak very proudly that I'm working for a Japanese company, I'm working for an Indian company, American company. Today, almost all the business people have become relatives. There is a corporate alliance among everybody. They have made a consensus in terms of making business and making wealth and property. New models of business have emerged. Say, for instance, most of the countries have opened up the industry and business with free economy, controlled economy, administered economy, socialistic and socialist form of societies have disappeared. New type of capitalism-oriented economies are emerging. As a result, you cannot blame East India Company for getting into India and Indian affairs. Today, every business house is controlling the economies of countries across the globe. Am I reaching? Can you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Therefore, here, multinational companies has become the order of the day. They have bases everywhere. Jokingly, we used to say that for everything, whether you want or not, there will be a multinational company. For what type of products? Products starting from potato chips to computer chips. For manufacturing potato chips also, there are multinational companies. For computer chips also, multinational companies. That means you need to prepare multi-talented, multinationally saleable graduates from your colleges and the universities. Knowledge management and networking with the knowledge-oriented sources has become one more important challenge today. Knowledge. Knowledge has become the most powerful weapon. I'm sorry to use the word weapon. Weapon has a different meaning these days, where everywhere we are seeing a sort of extremism, violence of different forms. When I use the word weapon, that makes us to think like that. But all problems can be solved with the help of knowledge. But knowledge never remains stagnant. Knowledge, we are all working in the knowledge industry, I remember, recall Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker, when somebody called him Professor Drucker, he said, "Don't call me a professor. I'm not a professor. I'm a knowledge worker." Even I'm a knowledge worker. I'm not a professor. Day in and day out, I'm working with this knowledge. But the beauty of knowledge industry, is that it is something like riding a bicycle. All teachers must remember, knowledge industry is like riding a bicycle. Why I'm telling this is, it is not a scooter or an automobile. It's a bicycle you are riding. It goes further and further as long as you pedal. If you stop pedal, it will stop. When I said the same thing before some other group, somebody said, "Sir, in the down it will go on its own, sir." Remember, after every down, there will be an up. There you will be struck and you cannot survive there. Therefore, knowledge has become the most powerful tool today. We are in the knowledge-based business. We are talking about knowledge economy. Knowledge economy. Our economy is not labor economy or capital economy. It is knowledge economy. Here, the role of teachers, that too in business schools and colleges, is of very paramount importance. Knowledge economy. Remember one more thing, though the world has become capitalist, till today, who is controlling the market is not the businessman. Most powerfully, confidently we can say it is the consumers. Consumers still remain the king, except few reasons that the monopolistic companies are controlling the market. Consumer is the king. And the consumer's mind is influenced by the changes in the society. Unless you understand the changing consumers' expectations, even, don't mistake me for saying this, as educators, as teachers, we need to look at our students as somebody who expects something from us, though not as absolute consumers. They are the kings. They are the kings. In economics, we called consumer as the king. But Mahatma Gandhi went to an extent to say, consumer is the God. Many a time, God may not be knowing what to get from the devotees, right? Same is the case with our students. They are very godly, and they may not be knowing as to what to ask, what to get. Whatever you give, they accept it with love. Unless we decide what is good for them, we cannot take them in the right direction. Followed by that, we need to reach out to the customers wherever they are and whenever they want, all the time and every time. This digital marketing and digital classroom, virtual classroom is an example for that. We are trying to reach these gods wherever they are. How are they accepting? That's a different story. I think I'm reaching you. The new normal in the business world today. I'm giving a glimpse of the total business environment today before I take you towards education. The first thing that I observed is geopolitical realignment. Geopolitical alignments between countries. One-time enemy country has become friend today. One-time competitive company has become collaborators today. Geopolitical alignments. But one certain thing that's happening everywhere is global violence and extremism. Extremism of all sorts. People have become very aggressive today, both in business, even education, people are very aggressive and violent. New resources slump. Resources have become very scarce. And what we thought as abundant resource, that has become scarce today. It could be the manpower, it could be the skill, it could be the talent. Resources have become very restricted. And global climate change is another challenge before us. Climate change can influence our business and our thinking, our life in different dimensions. Not going to elaborate unless there are questions. As a result of this, in today's business, we need all-rounders. It is not enough to say that I'm good in accounting, not good in marketing, good in HR, not in finance. We need all-rounders, all-round performers. And emergence of ICT, information technology, has made us to learn everything. Unless you know how to handle these machines, you will become redundant. No longer there is going to be human handling or human labor for handling all sorts of work. Unmanned systems will become the order of the day. Unmanned systems will be the order of the day. But with the introduction of this too much of technology, there will be the threat of cyber insecurity. Unethical, unfair, cheating, online cheating. Even half an hour before coming to the class, I received a call asking me about my bank details in a different way. That they started asking, you have an insurance policy, whether you got the bonus of the insurance policy. When I said no bonus, then they asked, in which bank you have account. Then I said, don't mistake me, madam. I am going to address a group of management teachers, commerce teachers banking teachers, don't try to cheat me. But many a time, it is the educated ones who are going to be cheated by cyber crime, cyber insecurities. New power and leadership styles are emerging. New leaders, new styles are emerging today because you need to think differently. You need to manage different type of people with the use of artificial intelligence. For everything, there is a solution online. For everything, there is a solution with the application of artificial intelligence. Human brain has become secondary. I'm not to say that human brain is secondary, but the present situation made people to think like that. I don't want you. Even teachers have been replaced by robots, you know. Teachers have been replaced. A robot can teach better because the expression, pronunciation, and everything is programmed, unlike a human mind. People are looking for such mechanized solutions. This is the trend. In this given trend, industries to survive need to think differently. The priorities of today's decisions vary. What is that? Despite of so much of material resources, financial resources that you have, manpower has become the prominent resource today, that too skilled manpower. When I say manpower, it is not the number of people. It's not the quantity of people. It is the quality of the people. Workforce well-being has become the prime thing today. Having qualitative workforce who are physically and emotionally developed, matured, and committed for the industry has become most important task for the future managers. In future, we need to develop qualitative manpower who are emotionally attached, who love to do the job rather than forced to do the job. Followed by that, remote working will become the order of the day. Gone are the days when we used to meet and physically interact one-to-one, and I used to say eye-to-eye conversation is the best conversation. Today, that word has become redundant. We need to learn to interact with people who are working in the remote place, in the faraway place. Your capacity to get the things done, your capacity to achieve the objectives depends on your capacity to develop the network with the remotely distributed manpower. I think I'm reaching you. Can you follow me?
Yes, sir. Following you, sir.
Sure, sir.
And then
Yes, sir.
in future,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
in future, companies are going to compete for customers. For every customer, they target, not the market. Micro-marketing. Micro-marketing is aiming at understanding each and every customer. Gone are the days I and you studied mass marketing techniques, you know. Mass marketing means I have this product, whoever wish to buy it. Today it is not the case. Micro-marketing, customized marketing, individualized production. They follow you. Machine learning technology, you know. Machine learning technology is used to understand your emotions. What type of content you search online? What is your interest? What type of products are appealing to you? What did you purchase last week? They keep track of all these things and they propose something before you. Individualized targets, so that every company will work for catching the customers or compete to catch the customer rather than the market. Therefore, you can develop agile teams, agile workers spread across the globe, distributed in different countries, working from their own places for your company. Only thing, you have to develop a network, control them, develop a long-lasting virtual relationship. See the fun. Without seeing somebody physically, without talking to them directly, you have to develop a long-lasting virtual relationship. And you need to track the type of products that the families are buying, and based on the family purchase behavior, you have to think of developing new production strategy, marketing strategy, and things like that. Therefore, for the new virtual lifestyle, new virtual business, we need to arrive at developing new leadership styles. Hence, our present system of teaching accounting, auditing, banking, insurance, business management, secretaryship, chartered accountant, most of the things will undergo sea changes. We need to relook, rethink about the delivery of these contents to our future students. But the business education is always experiencing a different type of challenge. Precisely, I tell you before I take you further. If you have any queries, you can question me. The most prominent challenge that the business educators are experiencing is a trade-off, drawing a trade-off, or balancing between two extreme, two contradicting viewpoints. When our students come to our courses, how to treat them? Shall we treat them as just like any other student, or shall we look at them as the customer for some new skills? If you consider your students as students, your intention is to give them knowledge, vast information about happenings in and around, make them to read more and more, work them to be obedient learners. But the society don't expect that from you. The society expects you to prepare them to face the realities of life. And many a time, students who have passed out from my institute come and say, sir, whatever you taught in the class is not there in the industry. Even you might have experienced, people will come and say, sir, if I follow whatever things that you taught, I cannot go anywhere. So that if you treat them as customer, you need to become more practical, realistic, materialistic, preparing them to fit into the present situation. That is not enough. What happened to many graduates who are focused into one particular industry, like computers? For some time, there was a slump. There was a crisis in computer-related jobs. Many people have become redundant. Likewise, we have to address this issue between student versus customer. How to consider that? But believe me, whatever the subject you teach, you are a teacher. A teacher's job is to consider the overall progress, overall development of the student. Basically, education is not for adjustment, it is for enhancement. It is not for managing life. Education itself is the life, The objective of education is to empower the students. How to empower them? How to make them confident, come out of the confusions that they have. That's a big challenge that needs preparation for us to interact. And more than anything, many a time there will be a contradiction between core potential, sustained, long-term goals versus the short-term requirements. This is what I said. If you concentrate on long-term development, the short-term goals will be missing. In the short term, what the students expect is not the knowledge, they expect employment, job. People will come and ask a question, is there scope for your subject? Where is the scope? How to define the scope? I think I'm reaching. Scope, scope for BCom, scope for BBA, scope for MCom, scope for MBA. Where is the scope? Simply, scope cannot come from the number of vacancies arrive. It comes from the ability of the people who are going to occupy these positions. Otherwise, after a short gap, these people are going to be thrown out of the job. They will become redundant. There is a saying, people who are in the colleges today are going to be appointed on jobs that are yet to born. I repeat, they are going to be placed on the jobs that are yet to born. They are not yet born. New type of jobs will be coming into the market. New type of services will come into the industry. These people must be prepared to take up such jobs for which even I don't have the answer. I don't have the skill set to teach them. The success or failure of any business management course, whether it is commerce or management, depends on the type of skill sets that you are teaching. What are the skills that you are imparting? One time very popular skills, that they have become redundant. Your mathematical ability, accounting ability, these things a software can take care. I think I'm right in my saying. There are softwares for everything. You cannot claim it as a skill today. Agree? Therefore, employability versus knowledge, employability versus getting academic ranks is still a confused issue before the teachers, students, and the managements of schools and colleges, including the government. Even today we say, by looking at the marks, yes, you are the great man. But when they go to the industry with that marks, they will be the poor performers. The industry looks for different type of skills than your academic scoring. Agree? Followed by this, presently everybody speaks about global issues, forgetting the ground reality. Everybody who speaks about business education, they speak about, even I started talking about digitization, computerization, that, these and all. What is the reality in India? Even today morning, one of my students came and told me that she don't have a smartphone to attend the online classes. And you are seeing it as an entertainment where a girl climbed the tree for getting the network to attend a class. Unconnected villages, remote schools in the remote places. Okay? Poverty on the one side, unaffordability on the other side. This is the ground reality, but by looking at what's happening in US, what's happening in Japan, what's happening across the globe, we say that our future must be like this. Our graduates must be like this. Where are they going? Agree? Okay? We say that as soon as they complete the course, they must occupy this position. Where are the positions? Where will they go? So that on the one side, we talk about global overview. On the other side, reality is different. Today's business education calls for more on hands-on experience than just experience sharing in the classrooms. If I say that 20 years back it happened like that, when I was a student it was like that, it's all cock and bull stories. Rhetoric approach of teaching must be replaced by critical approach. Event study, case study, assignments, new type of doing innovative jobs, These are the things that we must encourage. And students also don't want long-term courses, Today, students think that the 3 years course is a long period. They want immediate solution, one sitting examination, instant food, Like instant food, they look for immediate certification. That could be the reason our new education policy is planning for lateral entry and lateral exit. After 1 year, you will get a certificate. After 2 years, diploma. After 3rd year, degree. 4th year, honors degree. But when they exit, the question is where will they go unless they have the required skill. They need the required skill. Therefore, here, The industry has changed a lot. The present day business is characterized by certain most prominent issues. They should become the focal point or the focused areas of our teaching and learning in the schools and colleges. We need to keep those things in mind while teaching our graduates in the colleges. The first thing is digital disruption. Social media and digitization, no doubt, is a boon, provided it is used in the proper direction. If it is not used properly, both the teacher and the students will become sick mentally. I use the word sick unconsciously. I think if you agree with that, it's okay. Otherwise, it is true to, I have to defend myself that this digital disruption has caused lot of disturbance to the human thinking. Our thinking ability, our creativity has lost because of this. But this is the reality. We need to rise to the occasion. We need to learn the digital applications and use with utmost care for solving our business problems. Then only it is justified. And one more thing is, you need to be a creative thinker, a critical thinker rather than storyteller. Rhetoric approach is aiming at narrating, elaborately explaining things to people. Today, people don't want big stories. They don't have time. They want crispy information that can solve the problem. Therefore, you need to get out of the elaborate, lengthy sessions of giving them too much of information. It's a contradiction that I know. If you treat them as students, yes, you need to educate them from all angles. On the other side, if you want to prepare them for the future jobs, you need to be critical and tell them what they are lacking, what is relevant. Therefore, rhetoric approach must be replaced by critical thinking. And one more thing, business and business education will become effective only when students learn by doing. If they learn by doing, it will last for longer. Otherwise, it will be forgotten, particularly entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is something that cannot be discussed all the time within the four walls. You can make people to become entrepreneurs only when they are involved in it. They see it, they learn from experiencing. Therefore, in order to make students to learn, you need to inculcate certain new sets of values among the students by quoting examples from the practical life. You need to make your students social innovators, because the role of business graduates, let it be commerce or management graduates, is very significant in the economic development, social development, and hence, unless they have a social connectivity, unless they have a concern for developing the society, however intelligent they are, it will become waste. Therefore, we need to quote before them greater examples of achievers who have made inroads into the industry, business, based on their commitment with very simple and humble investments. Therefore, storytelling can be used to educate the people about the success of the great persons with their originality. Because many a time people lack originality. No teacher can take anybody to the fullest destination. A teacher can be a guide, that's it. A teacher can be an indicator, that's it. Nobody can take anybody to the final destination unless they travel. I remember the only two things that the youngsters are missing is, one is the motivation, other one is the innovativeness. Motivation, motivation should come from within. Self-motivation is the best motivation. To make our students to be self-motivated, we need to involve them in the happenings of day-to-day life across our schools and colleges, even in the communities. The social concern, social commitment will make them to think about their role in solving these problems. Because every graduate that is coming out of the colleges must act as a problem solver. But unfortunately, our graduates are becoming the problems many a time. It was somewhere in 1995, one of the great entrepreneurs of this country made a mention that 75% of the graduates coming out of our colleges and universities are unemployable. 75% of them are unemployable. That saying holds good till today because our students are not mentally mature. They are not mentally motivated on their own as to why I am doing this. For this, the answer is, I'll give the answer. Why our students are like this? Because most of the students have joined these courses because of the pressure of somebody. It is not of their original choice. It is not their original choice. If it was their original choice, they could have liked it very much. They could have liked it very much. But they were not given an opportunity. Freedom was not given to take up whatever they do. They are forced to take up business education. After completing business education, where will you go? They will become somebody like any other graduate. Entrepreneurial spirit, will not come on its own unless it is in the intuitive mind. Intuitive mind. There is a popular saying, as teachers we must remember, intuitive mind is a gift and it is the leader, whereas the rational mind is a servant and obedient. Our education is concentrating more on rational mind by forgetting the original intuitive mind. We will never ask our student, what do you want to become? We force them to become what we suggest. As a result, when they come out of the colleges, they become a burden both for the community and the family. Therefore, there must be something to encourage the students to think originally, intuitively, enjoy learning. How to make them to enjoy learning? That is another $1 million question that the teachers need to answer. And you will be knowing every country has become a global village. As every country has become global village and there are multinational companies everywhere, whether we like it or not, we need to think globally. We need to think globally and prepare people who can work with a global perspective. Earlier, 100% I do subscribe to the idea that think locally, act globally. Think locally and act globally means think small. Think if you are successful here, you can be successful anywhere. Think locally and act globally. But the present day made us to think globally. When you plan for a project, don't think only Mysore in mind, Bangalore in mind, think the world as the market. That is what. Though you are acting locally with small products, small quantities, no issues, let your product be universally acceptable. Therefore, we need to prepare universally acceptable graduates who are going to be the global leaders. To become a global leader, what is expected? What is expected? I'll make it very precise. I will not elaborate. Too short of time. First thing is, we must inculcate social awareness. Okay, thank you.
Nagendra Babu sir.
Thank you for giving a break. Okay, at the first instance, we must develop social awareness in addition to the subject that we are going to teach. Social awareness is the first thing that is required, and prepare our students to develop adaptability to situation. Adaptable. They can fit into the situation. In management, we used to say that flexibility is the most prominent thing that one should develop. That flexibility must not be confused with compromising character. It is the adaptability to the situation. Most of our youngsters get into depression, get into frustration, and commit suicide because of their inability to adjust with the situation. Therefore, we must make them mentally strong. What we need is the crisis managers, not just the event managers. Crisis, conflict, confusion, this is the reality. Those who can handle this will get adapted to any situation and produce critical thinkers. Education is not just sharing the facts. It is making original and critical thinkers. Make them effective decision makers. Decision making is the most prominent thing. As I said, the future of a country depends on the type of business decisions that are taken in the industry and the business houses. Let it be a small sole trading concern. It influences the life of the people in its own way. Therefore, business education is very closer to the social reforms, and the economic reforms can happen only through reforms in business education. And the people whom we produce as the graduates must be able to guide others. You can guide others only when you are confident and you are able to solve the problems of others. Therefore, graduates need not be only the academic machines who can remember and reproduce the theories and score high marks. They must be socially committed problem solvers. But these days, there are n number of issues that people speak. Uh, an estimate by the World Economic Forum has been made about the 10 popular skills that are going to be essential by 2025. By the end of 2025, the 10 popular skills for which people are demanded are listed like this. I'm not going to read everything, but you can make out these skills are concerned with 4 major activities. Those 4 major activities are, at the first instance, problem solving. Problems will be everywhere. If there is no problem, there cannot be management at all. The simplest definition for management is a solution to a problem. Our graduates must emerge as problem solvers of the community, problem solvers of the economy and the society. They will solve the problem only when they think, they are able to understand, able to interpret. That should be the spirit of our graduates. And when they think differently, creatively, they will come out with innovative solutions. Therefore, most prominent skills that are required in our future graduates is about problem solving. Think of the problem and make them to solve it. And another important thing that we need to inculcate among our students is self-management skills. Self-management skills, in other words, what we call emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability of an individual to understand his emotion and emotions of others. When you are capable of understanding your emotion, you can easily understand the emotions of others. When you understand others, automatically, most of the problem will be solved. Empathy. What is required today in the world is not sympathy. If you are not sympathetic about anybody, no problem. But empathize them. Put yourself into the shoes of the other person. Think, is it possible? Is it right to do like that? If the same thing is done to me, how I would have reacted to that? Self-management. Self-management comes with the concept of self-image, self-awareness, self-monitoring, and self-regulations. These are all the part of emotional intelligence, more than our competitive spirit in mathematics, engineering, or languages. Emotional skills will help us to withstand all sorts of crises. Even during this pandemic, many people are forced into psychological depression. Working from home, many people think is a boon, but at the same time, it has created many problems. Working in the remote place or talking to this computer screen is not a boon for any teacher. That leads to many emotional problems. Those problems must be solved only when you know how to handle yourself. If you can manage yourself, you can manage the world. Followed by that, another important skill is working with people. That's what called team spirit. Most of our students are very intelligent students, but very gloomy, very introvert. As a result of that, they are not going to be good team workers. One of the great things that we need to teach in the colleges and the universities, forget about the rest of the things, make them to be a responsible member of the society. That automatically makes him a team worker. Working in a team will become inevitable skill. All sorts of people there, somebody whom you like, somebody whom you don't like, but you have to be with the people only. Team spirit, that is another skill that you need to teach to your students. And technology has no excuse. Life is going to be technology driven. E-life, we are leading a e-life, electronic life, e-commerce, e-business, e-banking, like that, e-life, but emotions cannot be technologically managed. But technology, though it is an inevitable skill, we need to teach our people to upgrade themselves. It's a fast changing thing. We have to upgrade people to think in terms of all this. With this changing technology, you can prepare our graduates a paragon to the upcoming industrial society. Therefore, the new frontiers of management, not restricted to teaching accounting, statistics, taxation, organizational behavior from the syllabus point of view. You need to think beyond it. You need to inculcate your experience-based content into your teaching. Then only you can equip our graduates competent to handle the problems in the real world. Therefore, with comfort, nothing to be achieved. You can achieve something only when you take the risk of innovating. When you innovate, if you think it is relevant, do it. I thought today it is relevant to talk to you on this topic, so that I did it. If there are any questions, any confusions, I can react with you for a few minutes. Any queries, please feel free to raise questions. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
At the end, I am asking, am I audible?
Sir, this is Saravanan from Chennai. As usual, sir, I'm asking very silly questions. Don't feel differently, sir. Being a teacher, I'm asking this simple question to a great expert in the particular field is not a good sign.